Hickory dickory dock, the mouse got caught in the clock. The clock struck 12, the hands were locked, the mouse got crushed in the clock. Tick tock, the clock was on the wall. Some of us will persevere and some of us will fall. Tick tock, tick.
Okay, so it's rolling.
Ladies, gentlemen, and members of the press, good evening. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Augustino Dog, but my friends call me Augie Doggy. Woof, woof! Now, there's something I'd like to get off my chest, and I'm not referring to that blood-sucking leech. I'm referring to an idea. And my idea is that everybody should be the captain of his own ship and make his own decisions. Now, when I was 3 years old, I realized this right away. So when I was 3 years old, I decided to go to school. Isn't that right, doggy girl? I decided to go to school. Ah, dog, dog. Hoy, hoy, toy, 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 toy. Now, getting back to a serious matter, and that has to do with the subject of UFOs. I'm always asked if I ever had any experience with UFOs or extraterrestrials, or as some people call them, extraterrestriatorials. Now, the answer to that question is maybe. But I'm not going to say for sure. I'm going to let everybody guess. Okay, done. Now we'll get my brother in. I'll be meandering around in the background.
So basically, my brother David and I had hired a couple of people that shouldn't have been hired. They're called squatters. They wanted to take over their house, take over our house, run everything, and eventually have control of everything. So we have had a very difficult time dealing with these people because they want to get rid of us in one form or another. So life has been extremely eventful, and some of these people just, they have no concept of what they're doing. They're sort of like way out of it. So
they're druids. They're devil worshippers. Cowboy, cowboy, cowboy.
And one other thing I want to say about people that are
insane.
Yeah, that's right. They have a totally different perspective on reality. They're always wanting to ask you to do something for them. And we just don't know how to deal with it. We even had the police over 3 times, and they couldn't deal with it. So I think that's a pretty serious situation that needs to be addressed, and I don't feel that we're addressing this properly.
The biggest problem in the world today, well, the second biggest problem in the world today is people. The first biggest problem in the world today, it's dog-do! The biggest problem in the universe is dog-do.
And then I see what's going on with people who pick on other bullies. Bullies, that's it. I want to address the bullies.
Bullies, as opposed to cowies. Get along, cowboy.
So the bullies want to take over and have a lot of power and tell you you're crazy when they're the ones that are crazy. There's a lot of people that pick on other people so they can get more power. But the best way to treat other people is hope that other people will be treating you as well as they can. And nowadays, a lot of people, like the politicians, are treating people very badly. And then what happens then? Somebody wants to go somewhere, they're not allowed to, they have their license taken away from them, even though they're not a bad driver. Like me, I had a clear driving record right up until I was 70, and I was like 16 when I got my license, and they were telling me all these things that I wasn't doing. So what can I do? I'm not in control. The other people are in control.
One bully is Vladimir Putin. I'm not going to talk about him now, but you can rest assured that I will talk about him later in this movie.
And people don't trust each other. The politicians hate each other. How can we run a country where people want to slit someone else's throat? It just gets worse and worse. They're all lying, cheating, stealing. What's going to happen to this country? Well, I told one of my friends about 8 or 9 years ago that I thought the country was going down the tubes. And guess what? I was proven to be correct.
And they're also having sex in the Oval Orifice. Cowboy, cowboy, cowboy. But we won't discuss Billy Boy here. He'll be a subject of a later movie. I'll talk about him when he talks about me.
One of the squatters horrendously picked my brother as somebody that raped her. Can you imagine? Never have a record of any kind. Then the rape thing, and now they want to take the house away from us, which is not completely connected to the rape thing, but we're being very badly treated, and we don't like this. I mean, he's a 70-year-old man. They don't even want him to stay in his house because there was something wrong with some zoning thing, whatever. But has a perfect record, no arrests or anything in his life. So I think that's pretty bad, and I think the world is falling apart. Maybe not right away, might take a year or two, but it's not good. Thank you.
Ladies, gentlemen, and members of the press, welcome to Nazi Germany. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and members of the press. Woof, woof! And I'm going to tell you about some things that you should know. Woof! First of all, we're going to talk about the alleged NASA moon landing, which never took place. And I know this for a fact. You see, when Armstrong and Aldrin, the A brothers, went up in the rocket ship, and Neil said, "Hey, Buzz, take a right." And Buzz took a left. So instead of landing on the moon, they landed on the sun. Now, I can prove that because when the American flag rippled, and there's no wind on the moon, but there's a solar wind on the sun. And when the picture of the night sky was black, it was because the sun was in the lens. All right, now we're going to discuss the flat earth theory.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Drill straight down for 1,000 feet, and you will end up in Australia. You can take my word for that. If you don't believe me, that's something that you can try for yourself at home.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now we got to talk about everybody's favorite, the 9/11 Toother theory. Now they said that the Twin Towers were brought down by controlled demolition. Well, of course they were, because Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Donald Trump climbed up the elevator shafts of both buildings and set dynamite charges in the elevator shafts. And nobody bothered to stop them because everybody figured they belonged there. So we know all about that. And there was a movie that came out about that called Loose Brains or something like that. Yeah. Now we get to my personal favorite. And I alluded to this earlier in the film. You see, we have a big problem now back in the USSR. We get this guy by the name of Putin, Vladimir Putin. Are you listening to me, Vlad? Can you hear me? Anyway, Vladimir Putin killed millions of people. So guess what? I'm going to turn the tables on him. Because you see right here what I'm standing on? This, ladies and gentlemen and members of the press, is a gallows. I just have to get a contractor to put up the poles and the pole in the middle and attach a noose and then drill a circular hole right about here. And I'm going to get Vladimir Putin kidnapped and brought right here to Hudson, New Hampshire. And you know who's going to do that for me? The Illuminati. That's right, fans. I will be judge, jury, and executioner. And Vladimir Putin will hang right here from my pulpit, which is also a gallows. I'm going to invite some people to the spectacle. I'm going to invite a lot of notable people so they can sit somewhere in the gallery and watch it all happen. I'm going to invite Hillary Clinton, George Bush, John Wilkes Booth, who's still alive. I'm going to invite Xi Jinping. What's his name? I can't. You know who I mean. The guy in China. He's going to come over here. He's going to be my special guest, second in command. And he's going to take pictures of Vlad as he goes down the hole in my gallows here. And you know who else I'm going to invite? I'm going to invite Macron of France, the leader of France. I forget his first name. Does anybody know what Macron's first name is? I don't know what his name is. What the hell is Macron's first name? I'm sorry if I got a little bit carried away here. I can't stand it when I forget names. But I think everybody in the audience knows exactly who I'm talking about. So what do you have to do for me, if you can manage this? You need to go to France and get a hold of this Macron guy and tell him in no uncertain terms, I expect him right here in Hudson, New Hampshire, to watch the hanging of Vladimir Putin. And if I don't see him here, I'm going to be very disappointed. Get along, cowboy, milkman, milkman, milkman. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse got caught in the clock. The clock struck 12, the hands were locked, the mouse got crushed in the clock.